My fiancé mocked my profession at her office party. I ended our engagement right in front of the entire room. I'm 31 male, and I work as an automotive technician. It's not the most prestigious job, but I take pride in my craft. I was raised watching my father repair engines in our garage, and it lit a spark in me. I attended trade school, earned my certification, and now I operate my own modest garage. It's straightforward work, and it covers my expenses. Most importantly, I'm passionate about it. That's why. What my fiancé, well, ex-fiancé, now did at her work party impacted me so deeply. My ex, who I'll call Elle, is very different from me in many ways. She's sophisticated, employed in corporate branding, and has always existed among people who prize image above substance. Regardless of that contrast, I believed we shared something real. She often said she respected my dedication and appreciated that I pursued what I loved, or at least that's what I believed she meant. Everything began at Elle's company seasonal celebration a few weeks back. She was thrilled about it, saying it'd be a chance for me to get to know her coworkers and understand her professional environment. I felt uneasy. I'm not really at ease in formal clothes or upscale venues, but I wanted to be there for her, so I accepted the invite. Upon our arrival, the event was just what I envisioned: sleek, luxurious, and full of individuals who seemed like they'd been pulled straight from a fashion catalog. Elle fit in effortlessly, laughing and socializing with her peers. I, however, felt completely out of place, but I reminded myself it was fine. I was there for her, not to blend in. Things went downhill roughly an hour into the evening. Elle was introducing me to some of her teammates when one of them, a guy who looked like he'd never left a conference room, asked me what line of work I was in. I run a small automotive service garage, I answered calmly. Before he could reply, Elle jumped in. Isn't that adorable? She said, chuckling. He's like a 21st century grease monkey. The circle laughed, and I froze. Grease monkey, I echoed, staring at her. She brushed it aside. Oh, lighten up. It's just humor. Don't take it personally. The group carried on, but I couldn't forget the remark. It wasn't only the phrase, it was the delivery, the dismissiveness, like my livelihood was some childish pastime rather than a respectable trade. I tried to move past it, convincing myself I was being too sensitive, but inside it hurt. The breaking point came later that night during a speech. Elle stood up before everyone with her drink raised and started appreciating her team for their contributions. Then out of the blue, she brought attention to me and a big thanks to my fiancé, she announced, grinning. Not your average corporate guy, but he sure knows his way around a wrench. If your engine stalls, you know who to call. The audience broke into laughter. I felt my cheeks burn as dozens of eyes focused on me, their grins laced with pity. Elle looked thrilled with her performance, while I sat there mortified. Once the chuckles faded, I met Elle's gaze, silently begging for an explanation. She appeared oblivious to my reaction, or worse, uninterested. She was too busy basking in her moment, clearly proud of her clever remark. I quietly rose from my seat and went outside to breathe. The crisp night breeze was refreshing, but my mind raced. I repeated her words again and again, the laughter ringing like a bell. This wasn't merely a careless comment, it was just another one offhand comment. It was more than that. It was a pattern she'd repeated over and over, turning my profession, my passion, into a cheap punchline. And the most painful part? She'd done it in front of strangers who knew nothing about me. Just a few minutes after I stepped outside, Elle followed, still holding her wine glass. There you are, she said, her voice airy and carefree. Why'd you disappear? I faced her, doing my best to stay composed. Do you even realize how humiliating that was? She blinked, genuinely confused. What are you talking about? The toast, I said, my frustration starting to show. You made me sound like your personal handyman, like some tool you keep around. She chuckled like it was nothing. Oh, please. It was just a joke. Everyone thought it was funny. I didn't, I said flatly. And this isn't the first time. You've made digs like this before. But tonight? You crossed a line. Her smirk disappeared, her face hardening. You're overreacting. I was trying to lighten the mood. By making fun of me? I snapped. You claim to admire what I do, but the way you act says something completely different. Do you even hear how patronizing you sounded? She folded her arms. God, you're being so dramatic. If a little teasing sets you off, then maybe you're the one with the issue. That was it, the facade crumbled. This wasn't a miscommunication. It was something deeper. A core mismatch in values, in how we saw each other. I had always backed her career, supported her ambitions without hesitation. But she either couldn't or wouldn't do the same for me. I inhaled slowly, gathering the strength to say what I knew I had to. Elle, I can't keep doing this. Her eyes widened. What are you saying? This relationship, I said, my voice calm. It's done. She let out a nervous laugh. You're kidding. Over a stupid joke? You're going to end everything over one comment. It's not one comment, I replied. It's every time you've made me feel lesser, every time you've treated what I do like it's beneath you. You don't respect me. And I can't marry someone who looks down on me. Her expression turned from shock to fury. You're ridiculous, she snapped. You act like fixing cars makes you some kind of hero. Newsflash, it's not that impressive. Her words cut deep, but they also made everything crystal clear. I removed the engagement ring and placed it gently into her hand. I hope you find someone you truly respect, I said, then turned and walked back inside. As I returned to the banquet hall, the weight on my chest began to ease. I knew breaking it off in such a public setting would cause a stir, but I didn't care. I deserved better. I deserved someone who wouldn't mock my identity. When I got back to the table, I picked up my coat and prepared to leave. Elle followed, clearly flustered. You're really going to cause a scene, she whispered harshly. You already did, I replied, keeping my voice even. Enjoy your evening. The murmurs around us were growing. Curious eyes, hushed conversations, but I didn't waver. Elle grabbed my arm one last time, desperation now seeping into her tone. Please, let's just talk this through. You're making a huge deal out of nothing. I looked at her, met her eyes. I gave you every chance to treat me with dignity. I lifted you up, celebrated your victories, never once disrespected your profession. You couldn't return the favor. That's not something we can just talk out. That's who you are. With that, I left. Left her standing there, stunned, holding the ring that no longer meant anything. The drive home was silent, my thoughts a storm of relief, sadness, and clarity. I kept replaying everything, wondering if I made the right choice. But every time her words echoed in my head, the way she dismissed what I love, I knew this was right. Over the following days, the fallout began. Mutual friends called, texted, wanting details. Apparently, Elle had wasted no time pushing her version of events. He's so fragile, she wrote in a group chat. I was clearly joking and he flipped. Who dumped someone over a toast? I didn't respond. The people who mattered already knew the truth. I wasn't going to match her pettiness. But when a friend sent me screenshots of her blasting me on social media, I knew she wouldn't stop. She called me controlling, said I was hypersensitive, claimed she dodged a bullet. That's when I decided I needed to speak up. So I reached out to friends, coworkers, even people who barely knew me from the party, and calmly explained my side, of course. I didn't just let her version of things go unchallenged. I told my side honestly to friends, mutual acquaintances about the constant jabs, the lack of appreciation, and how that party wasn't an isolated event, but the final push I needed. Most people understood. A few even reached out to apologize for laughing during her speech. One of Elle's coworkers messaged me privately saying, I never liked the way she spoke about you. It always felt like she thought she was settling. That message hit hard, but it also reassured me I hadn't misread everything. Elle never really appreciated who I was or what I did. I wasn't going to let her twist the story in her favor anymore. Ending the engagement definitely caused a ripple effect in our shared social groups, but I stood my ground. Elle kept trying to frame me as the insecure, overreactive one, but her behavior at the party and other stories that began to surface started painting a different picture. One of the more validating moments came from a friend who'd been on the fence about what happened. They messaged me and said, I talked to someone at her office. They said she used to brag about how she settled for you because you seemed easy to manage. Honestly, you dodged a bullet. They weren't wrong. I truly had. The biggest moment of closure came from an unexpected phone call from Elle's manager. Apparently, word of the incident at the holiday party had traveled up the ladder. Her manager said there were concerns about how she represented herself and the company. I didn't need to say much, just confirmed what was already being discussed. They thanked me and told me they'd address it on their end. I never followed up or pried, but I later heard Elle didn't get a promotion she'd been working toward. Actions have consequences. With her no longer part of my life, I redirected my energy into what mattered, my craft, my peace, my future. I began tackling more advanced repair work at my garage, invested in some upgraded equipment, and even started hosting weekend classes for young people interested in the trade. It felt amazing to invest in myself again, to do what I loved without judgment or the weight of someone's mockery dragging me down. As for the engagement ring, I sold it. Used the money to take a solo trip I'd been putting off for years. That vacation wasn't just about relaxation, it was about reclaiming something. About closing a door and choosing myself. Looking back, the breakup had very little to do with a single toast. It had everything to do with what that toast exposed. Elle never viewed me as an equal. I was a prop, a punchline, a tool to boost her image and feed her ego. And that's not what real love looks like. Love is respect. It's mutual support. It's building each other up, not tearing each other down in front of strangers to get a laugh. So if you're in a relationship where you feel small, diminished, or like your dreams are constantly being dismissed, this is your sign. You deserve more. Speak up. Walk away if you must. Even if it hurts. Even if it shakes up your whole world. Because one day you'll realize that choosing yourself was the best thing you ever did. And if you found strength or clarity from hearing this journey, don't forget to hit that follow button. You never know. The next story might be the one that gives you the courage to do the same. Stay.